One thing I want to say, I know there's a sweet crowd right now. Well, he can star in the episode of Funk Master, baby. Sugar Show with the web.
Very soon, the undisputed championship of the Bantamweight division in the world's best league will be up for grabs. An unstoppable Aljamain Sterling will have his 4th title defense already on August the 19th in the main event of UFC 291. Not that long ago, he beat the former champion of an Olympic caliber, and now he is set to face the number 2 ranked fighter in Sean O'Malley. Sugar's last fight was against Petr Yan, and this very win over the Russian gave him the title opportunity. In today's video, we will remember the most effervescent performances in Sean O'Malley's professional career and try to figure out if he has chances at the upcoming tournament. Please don't forget about the likes, comments with forwards, and subscribe to the channel. Here we go! Number 5. Alfred Kashakian, Dana White's Contender Series 2. The first bout of today dates back to 2017. At that moment, a promising prospect who hasn't dyed his hair in all possible colors just yet was on a record of 7 wins, 6 of which were stoppages, and 0 losses. Sean O'Malley started his professional career just 2 years ago, and now he got noticed by the world's best league. The matter of him getting in the UFC roster was supposed to be decided at Dana White's Contender Series, where Sugar was set to face the fighter named Alfred Kashakian.
I'm Sean O'Malley. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I train out of the MMA lab. I got involved in fighting when I was 15 years old. I liked boxing a lot, so I started working with the boxing coach, and I just started from there. Boxing, went to kickboxing. Then when I turned 18, I started MMA. What makes me exciting to watch is my style. I come out, I'm spinning, I'm setting stuff up, and I'm knocking dudes out, I'm putting them away. I'm on a 3-fight KO streak. I'm having fun in there, I really am. I'm happy in there, I love it in there. With this opportunity, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna knock this kid out. He's similar to the last 3 guys I fought. He's an orthodox striker, he's too slow. I'm gonna come out there, bounce in front of him, his confidence is gonna go down, I'm gonna kick him in the body, I'm gonna kick him in the head, and the fight's gonna be over in 2 rounds. Then I'm gonna knock this dude out in spectacular fashion, and you're gonna want to sign me.
As it became clear later, O'Malley must have been looking in the crystal ball. He dispatched his opponent in less than a round and beat Kashakian in a one-sided fashion with no issues. At 4 minutes and 14 seconds, Sean threw a precise right straight that earned him an impressive knockout victory in the
I'm on a 4-fight KO streak. 3-fight KO streak in the first round.
I'm looking for exciting, I'm looking for flashy, I'm looking for somebody who has that thing.
What is that thing?
Sean O'Malley is that thing. He's the guy.
I just want to keep getting better, keep training, just keep getting better. I love to fight. I mean, they'll give me who they give me. I knew if I put on a performance, I'd probably get signed. I'm on a 4-fight KO streak, like knockout, so this is awesome.
Oh, that's it! That is it! Sean O'Malley with a huge right hand brings Dana White to his feet, and he is still undefeated.
Number 4. Thomas Almeida, UFC 260. The next fight featuring Sugar that we're interested in took place in March of 2021. After the first and only defeat in his professional career, Sean O'Malley came back into the game as soon as he got an opportunity to do so. At that moment, he had a record of 12 wins and 1 ill-fated loss, and the world's best league decided to give him an opponent whose professional record was twice as big as his own. Thomas Almeida is a fighter who began his career in 2011. Up until 2015, he was undefeated and has already been competing inside the UFC for a year. Recently, he was going through some tough times, and prior to his fight with Sugar Sean, was on a losing streak.
It depends how I win. I go out there and win a decision. Doesn't say much. I go out there and put his lights out the way I put out Eddie's lights. You know, make a big statement. I'm up in that talk. Right now, I'm not in the mix. You know, the Bantamweight division's on fire, but I'm not really in that mix. I go out there and put Thomas's lights out. I'm in that mix.
No, I was excited about that fight. He's a good kickboxer. His last 3 fights, he's lost to good people, like really good guys. So it's, you know, I think he's a legitimate opponent. I think looking at it from that perspective, saying, oh, he's coming off 3 losses, like, you know, he's still a dangerous opponent, and he's coming off 3 losses, which might make him more dangerous. You know, this could be, you know, he might go to Bellator after this or go somewhere else. I might send him on his way out. So he's going to be coming ready to go. So, no, this is a good fight, and I'm excited about it.
Despite the difference in experience, Sean O'Malley delivered another exemplary performance. The fight lasted for 13 minutes and 52 seconds, during which Sugar was effortlessly battering Thomas Almeida's chin. He acted like a cold-blooded seasoned veteran and took bits of the Brazilian's health with absolutely every touch. In the end, it resulted in another knockout and a celebration from Sugar Show.
That was a lot of people. I've been getting for 8 months. I've been having to deal with weak ankles, so it felt good.
You know, I thought he was done. He's tough. That dude's a legit. You know, that dude's legit. You know, he's a tough dude.
There was a big storyline coming into this fight. A lot of smart people I thought were smart. We're talking about you just got to kick his legs. Like, I'm not an elite level striker. Like, I haven't had, you know, 30-some fights, amateur. I know how to check kicks. So, yeah, I got to prove a lot of stupid people that they're stupid. It was nice.
Bad. He's doing it again.
And again, the hesitation. He gets another highlight for the real Sean O'Malley. Finishes Thomas Almeida.
Maybe he should.
Number 3. Eddie Wineland, UFC 250. At the middle of our list, we have a fight between Sean O'Malley and the American veteran Eddie Wineland. By June of 2020, Sugar Sean was undefeated with 11 wins in a row and a 0 in the loss column. He has been fighting in the UFC for about 35 months, and it did quite successfully. 4 wins in a row speak for themselves. On the other side of the octagon, a tough Eddie Wineland who began to conquer the world's best league in 2011. The bigger part of his career is more of a zebra with constant alternations of black and white lines. However, it's worth mentioning the fact that he was a contender for the interim championship in the Bantamweight division. Either way, at the previous UFC 238 event, he knocked out Grigory Popov and was given a young and rising prospect as his next opponent.
Yeah, last time I said those exact words on the viral knockout, I ended up knocking out David Nusso in spectacular fashion. One of, in my opinion, it's a little biased, but one of the sweetest knockouts ever. And I feel like this is going to be a perfect matchup for something like that to come about. Mindset right now is I want to become champ and I want to defend the belt and I want to be the best bantamweight ever before I move up to featherweight. But it's hard to say, you know, in the next 5 years I could put on too much weight just naturally and have to make that move up. I want to make an intelligent decision. I don't want to get stuck in the mindset of I have to be the best bantamweight ever because if I have to go up to featherweight, you know, I have to. But right now I want to get that belt and defend it.
I'm pretty good about keeping focused on the fight I have ahead of me, especially with Eddie. In those little gloves, anything could happen. But we haven't thought about too much for who's the next opponent. It kind of depends on, you know, how we get out of this fight. If I'm injury free and ready to go in a couple weeks, a month, you know, we'll see who's coming off a win, and there's a lot of things that play out. If Fight Island happens, then we can start looking at other opponents not inside the United States. So right now you're pretty limited. But I think it doesn't really matter who I fight next. It's going to be a big fight. It's going to be exciting. People are going to want to watch. So I don't think it matters too much who I fight next.
If you will, we would like to repeat the line we said before the previous fight. Despite the difference in experience and 10 years of age, when Eddie Wineland was starting his professional career, Sean was 8 years old and in the 3rd grade. O'Malley did his job flawlessly. He dismantled his opponent in less than 2 minutes and truly shut him down with one shot, delivering another viral knockout.
Yeah, it went perfect. You know, you can't complain. It seems like, I guess 3 months ago, the same thing happened. I got in there, I did what I needed to do and got out. So it feels super similar to that fight. I think this one ended a little sweeter. I'll have to go. I haven't really been able to watch it, but it felt good. I expected that. You know, I think I don't want to talk for everyone, but I think some people get really excited because they're kind of surprised if they knock someone out. I plan on knocking people out. It's what I think for the last 3 weeks, I knew I was fighting Eddie Wineland on June 6th. So in my mind, I'm knocking Eddie Wineland out June 6th. Now I just did it.
O'Malley's good. Right whenever he's going in and out, he does a fin. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he slept him bad out of nowhere.
Number 2. Raulian Paiva, UFC 269. Next we have a fight between the two comers from Dana White's Contender series. As we already said in the beginning, Sean O'Malley showed the beauty of the Sugar Show on July 18th of 2017. Since then, he confidently broke into the world's best league and began to collect knockouts like achievements in an online game, which he hasn't played for a long time. His Brazilian opponent arrived in the UFC a year later and had time to hop on a 3-fight winning streak. By December of 2021, Paiva had a record of 21 wins and 3 losses, while Sean was 14-1.
I do remember saying that. I feel like that was quite a bit of fights ago that I wanted to make more when I fought. But I've also called out Cody Garbrandt, Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz. I've called out the ranked guys. So it's not necessarily I want to get paid more to fight the ranked guys. At this point, it's just like, you know, I've called them out. I haven't got those fights. I don't pick my fights. Clearly, I would if I picked my fights, I would be fighting one of those guys. They offered me Paiva, who was ranked 15. You know, I didn't know that at the time until after I accepted it, and they said, oh, he's ranked, and then a couple days later he wasn't. So I think the idea that I just pick my fights is a little bit, it's not exactly true. They offered me Paiva, I said yes. It's like, does that mean I pick my fights? I don't know. I didn't say, hey, I want to fight Paiva. So the whole I pick my fights and I'm not going to fight someone tough until I get paid is not necessarily true. I think Paiva's dangerous. He's very tough. We saw it in the last fight. My buddy Kyler, you know, really, he beat him up, and Paiva somehow won that fight. So in my eyes, he's coming off a loss. Really, like I thought my buddy beat him. He's a dangerous opponent to show that much heart. You know, Kyler was hitting with some hard shots, and he stayed up. You know, I just went through a fight like that with Chris. So I think, you know, going through that last fight shows that I can, you know, I'm not going to get tired beating someone up. So if he wants to get beat up for 15 minutes, I'm down.
As it was the case in the previous fights, everything came down to a couple of surgically precise shots from Sean O'Malley. After 4 minutes in, Sugar really went after the Brazilian's head and was beating the consciousness out of his body with every strike on the way to shutting him down. TKO did not take too long. It was all over in less than a round via stoppage.
Yeah, to be honest, anytime I get in the octagon, I feel like it's going to be a first-round knockout because I just feel like anybody I fight has never fought somebody like me. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's just, I think it's true when I stand in there. Paiva's never seen someone like me. He's never felt that speed. So I did see that playing out like that. And I want to thank myself for looking at the clock and seeing how much time was left. Because some people, Daniel Cormier, my last fight, he's like, oh my God, he's looking at the clock. Like, it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, I'm gonna look at the clock. If I didn't look at the clock, I wouldn't know how much time I have left. I land a big shot. I don't know how much time I got left. I gotta know if should I empty my tank and try to take this dude out, or should I wait and then have the rest of the fight save my energy? You know, so that kind of bugged me. That I kept bringing that up. Oh, he looked at the clock. Oh, he looked at the clock. It's like, dude's a double champ. It's like, what's your IQ? Your fight IQ? Is that not, you know, you think LeBron James is gonna fucking drive the ball down the court and not look at the clock? It's amateur.
Number 1. Petr Yan, UFC 280. And in conclusion of today's topic, we will remember the biggest win in Sean O'Malley's entire career. By October of 2022, Sugar Show kept on turning up. The last time Sugar entered the octagon was on July the 2nd at UFC 276, where he clashed with Pedro Munoz. Unfortunately, it ended in a no contest due to an accidental eye poke. Despite that, O'Malley has already broken into the top 15 and continued to express his desire for the next fight. On the other side, there was an ex-champion of the division, Petr Yan. At that moment, the Russian already had time to have a rematch with Aljamain Sterling and lose via a split decision. And at UFC 280, the matchmakers got inspired with an idea to put together number 1 and number 13, who Sean was.
And the only guy in the top 10 that didn't have a fight right after my fight. Everyone in the top 10 had a fight except for Petr Yan. I was like, that's a fight I've wanted for a couple of years. I'm getting paid. So right when they called me, he's like, hey, you don't have to, like, what do you think of this? And I was like, yes, 100%, let's get this done. And I didn't think Peter was gonna take the fight, to be honest. So I was messaging him personally on Instagram, being like, just trying to, get under his skin to where he's like, what, motherfucker? Because I'm ranked number 13. Also, I'm the biggest name in the division, so it makes sense for him too, but it also doesn't, because I am a tough fight for him. So it's gonna be. So I was messaging him on Instagram like, don't hide, don't run from me or some shit, and just kind of give him some incentive to want to take that fight even more. But he was the only guy after that Pedro Munoz fight. I went back to the UFC and said, hey, Peter was literally the only guy in the top 10 without a fight. He turned down Cheeto. Peter turned down Cheeto, so I don't think he really had an option. I think UFC probably went to him and said, hey, you can't just keep turning these guys down. You have to fight the Shikasho. So I know he was saying he picked that fight. I don't believe that. I think he got bullied into it.
Connor's not, maybe some of the stuff he's done recently, not a wannabe, but, his career, he's had a pretty sweet career. So, yeah, I think it's someone, not too bad to look, I'm going to smash Peter. How about that? Is that a better answer?
The fight between Petr Yan and Sean O'Malley was truly intriguing. Despite all the talks, wild guesses and doubts, Sugar had a worthy performance in the octagon against a former champion who hasn't lost his belt in a legitimate way. He felt great on the feet, had a decent defense on the ground, and constantly applied pressure with his strikes. For 2 out of 3 judges, that was enough to give Sugar Sean the victory and put him right at the top of the weight class.
It's crazy. Petr Yan obviously was the number 1 guy. Arguably could have been considered the champ, depending on who you ask. And I think I went out there and just proved that, I belong in the top of the division. Peter's a gangster, dude. Peter's so tough, and it was awesome to be able to go out there and get the job done.
Of course, we are fully aware that this win is very controversial, but let's be honest. Prior to the tournament, many predicted the Merciless to completely rip Sean's head off, and in the end, we saw a very close fight, and sometimes Petr found himself in dangerous situations due to O'Malley's shots. He showed a decent performance and managed to oppose a former champion, one has to admit that. Do you think that Sean O'Malley has any chances for the competitive fight with